So this is the Insta360 Ace Pro. I think this is Insta360's last generation version of the Ace Pro lineup. I think they recently announced and launched the Ace Pro 2, but sadly, I got it 1 month before the launch, and I've been using this for about 2 months now. And I think it's just at the point where now I can say yes, I can review it, because this has so many new features, so many new technologies that it's using, that it takes a long time to make sure that everything is actually good, and there are still features that I have probably not even tried out. But here is a review of the Insta360 Ace Pro, and I think you can now get it for slightly cheaper thanks to the newer version coming out. And I feel this is more than enough when it comes to action cameras. So here is the complete review of the Insta360 Ace Pro. Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Now I know I've not uploaded in quite a while. My last video was released on 8th September 2024, which finally I did record on this. But a sub to the channel would be awesome. It would be really motivating, and hopefully I do try and become more consistent and upload more videos. I do have some videos lined up, like the smartphones of the year for this year, and probably once I get the One UI 7 on the smartphone that I'm recording on, I'll probably make a video of that as well, because I'll have this to record on. So yeah, so a sub to the channel will be awesome, and while you're at it, do consider liking the video as well, and probably comment your favorite feature that I talk about in this video. So let's get back to the video. So the main selling point of the Insta360 Ace Pro is its AI capability. So Insta360 has packed with it quite a few AI capabilities, and it does have a really good camera. Now, there are some perks or other action cameras that I will be coming to, but I guess let's start with some of the features, like what are the camera capabilities. So now the Insta360 Ace Pro packs with it an 8K sensor, which means it can record in multiple resolutions up to 8K, starting at 1080p. So it goes 1080p, 2.7K, 4K, and then 8K. 8K is capped at 24 FPS, whereas 4K on the regular video mode is capped at 120 FPS, whereas 1080p goes up to over 240 FPS, which I don't think you're going to use unless you actually want slow-mo shots, and is pretty much useless on the regular video mode. Now this, I'm pretty sure, is the first 8K action camera, and it also comes with 1x and 2x zoom. So 1x is a very ultra wide zoom, but 2x feels like a more smartphone type framing. And on 2x, even though it is cropping into the sensor, because it is an 8K sensor, you can record in 2x at pure 4K resolution, which is pretty much crazy. So you have lossless quality even at 2x resolution. Now, one downside is that this does not have any focusing system. So you can't take macros, you can't get any sort of bokeh effect while recording videos or even taking photos. We'll get to the photo quality later. But it also lacks any sort of digital zoom between the 1x and 2x, or even after the 2x, which, considering the fact that it shoots in 8K, probably could use with some digital zoom, but hopefully they can include that with some sort of a software update. Now, coming to the stabilization, the camera has really good stabilization. So on the regular video mode, you can choose no stabilization, low, high, or even medium stabilization. It can even lock the frame at 45 degrees or even 360 degrees, wherein even if you turn it completely, the footage doesn't change, which means that the framing is never lost. You don't see any rotation, and it sticks at that particular horizon level as well. It's called horizon lock, and it's probably one of my most favorite features on this. It also makes some of the other modes possible on this, such as your star lapse, because it keeps the horizon of the earth locked and tracks the stars, but more on those later. It also has an ultra wide view, which means you get a sort of fisheye distortion, but that is pretty much eradicated with the dewar framing, which is also included in this, along with the 45 degrees and horizon lock feature. Now, one downside of 360 degree horizon lock is that the footage is pretty cropped in. So I'm not saying it's a loss of quality, but you do lose a lot of detail around the edges, which I don't think is a compromise I'm willing to give in unless is absolutely necessary. Coming to the build quality, so the Insta360 Ace Pro is built with rugged glass and a soft matte rubbery plastic sort of finish. It's both matte and glossy. I don't know if you can see, it does shine even though it's matte, so it's very difficult to catch fingerprints, although on the lenses and all that it is very easy to catch fingerprints. So I usually just keep a microfiber handy in my camera bag and I continuously wipe it before taking any shot. But yeah, so it does come with a flip up display which can go anywhere between 0 to 180 degrees, as you can see, and it can also stop at any angle that you wish. So even when you're trying to like record at a lower angle, say, you can flip it up to whatever angle you can view it at and then go ahead and record. And I've been using this for 2 months now, which I know is not a very long period of time for testing its durability, but I have dropped it quite a few times on uneven rough surfaces with lots of rocks, and I don't think I've gotten any scratches on the lens or even any scuff marks over the build. The magnets at the bottom which I'd used in the mount are also very strong, and I do have a screen protector on, and I did have a lens protector which I removed just to check whether I'm losing any video quality for this, but I did not see any loss in quality or any change in quality, so I guess it was a pretty good quality one. I'll link it down below if you want. But yeah, what I mean to say is the build quality is really good. The hinge has not loosened at all, as you can see, and it can literally go up at any angle. It was actually pretty tight at first and now is much more smoother to use. It comes with 2 microphones and multiple audio features as well, which are capable thanks to these microphones, and you'll see more about that in the clips that I use while testing out this video. So this is the video quality Pro video mode on the Insta360 Ace Pro. The mics are currently set to wind reduction, but I probably in the next clip which I'm going to be adding here will be changing that to voice focus, so that I can try and test that out as well. But overall, in the feed that I do see up here, I do see quite a lot of noise, but I think as I save this video and as it encodes, it basically does some sort of noise reduction algorithm with the help of the built-in 5nm AI chip in it, and thus gives a pretty good video quality even on Pro Video. I have seen that it is still pretty noisy when it comes to late night shots where there's very minimal lighting, but in this sort of late evening sort of environment, where it's currently I think somewhere around 7 p.m. if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's 6:50 right now. So in this sort of an environment, it does give pretty good quality. I don't have any facial lights on me. The only light source is down there, and probably street lights, but that's about it. Okay, so right now the mics have been set to direction focus, which means it should probably be directing towards me using this front microphone that's down here. But yeah, this is still on Pro Video mode, and this is the audio quality. Now changing it to stereo. So this is the stereo audio quality on the Insta360 Ace Pro. You should probably get a lot more background noise, but if you see, if I go ahead and edit this using the Insta360 Studio app, which is available for desktops, I can do a voice focus filter using software, which basically tries and filters on my voice. Let's talk about some of the features that are included with this. So some of them are subject tracking, and then you have gesture control, wherein you can either use voice or even hand gestures to control taking photos, taking videos, switching it on, switching it off, not switching it on, sorry, only switching it off. It also gives you the capability of using AI to automatically create highlight videos, wherein the camera sends your footage to the app, and then the app makes use of AI to cut out the parts when something important is actually happening, and then it creates a highlight reel for you, saving time in the post. The app also allows us to wirelessly transfer files from the camera to the phone. You can also use the Type-C port, which is given over here next to the micro SD slot, to do that. But also, yeah, so the transfer is a little slow, although you can use hardware proxy. So I guess the better the hardware on your phone, the faster the data transfer is going to be. You can also use wired transfer, which is pretty fast. And the app also has some crazy editing features, which makes editing much easier, but it does lack some fundamentals that a company must include in the editing app of a particular camera. One of them being the ability to crop into photos and videos, which is missing. The second one is rotating it. Now, by mistake, if I do record a vertical video horizontally, I do want no, if not the camera, at least the app to allow me to rotate that particular footage into landscape. But sadly, neither this nor the PC app called Insta360 Studio allows me to do that. In my opinion, the mobile app is actually better than the PC app, which is kind of sad because a PC provides so much more power than the regular mobile phone. Now, coming to the touchscreen and the overall UI. So, the touchscreen and app are pretty intuitive and extremely responsive, making it very easy to use this particular device and navigate through it. It has a bunch of settings. You can tweak it. You can go to manual mode. You can go to auto mode and do a lot of stuff, including changing the shutter speed. Only thing is, it doesn't have focusing like I mentioned before, so no sort of bokeh comes into the picture, and it does come with face tracking or matrix color grading, which basically adjusts the exposure of your footage either based on the subject's face or based on the overall environment. Um, it is fairly lightweight, I would say, not the lightest action camera out there, but obviously with such a rugged build and a good battery life and this glass and heavy plastic finish, it is slightly heavier, and you can feel that when you try to mount it on your head or on your chest. But otherwise, if you're just roaming around, thanks to the stabilization, you don't get any movement, or it is really rugged and does not feel finicky at all. It is compatible with regular GoPro accessories as well, which basically means we can use third-party GoPro accessories as well with it. It comes with a magnetic mount for the Ace Pro, which makes it very easy to mount and unmount. The camera also has a tiny screen in the front, which simply shows the recording modes and settings, but more on that later. I kind of have mixed reviews as to how they've used this particular feature, and I feel with software updates it can be improved, but I'll talk about that later. Now, the night mode is actually one of the main selling points of this camera from Insta360, and I must say, it's actually commendable. The camera contains a 5nm processor specifically for AI purposes and low light video. The camera processes low light video in real time prior to encoding, which means there is no loss in quality even in low light. Now, while this is not perfect, it is still very good and much better than any other action camera out there. In fact, I sometimes do feel that it's better than many flagship smartphones and probably most starting level or mid-range DSLRs as well in terms of video, except for the focusing, of course. It is a little noisy when there is almost zero lighting, but that is expected with almost every camera out there. You can probably edit it in post, as the Insta360 Studio app for the PC does come with an AI noise remover, but that comes at the cost of the sharpening of the footage. Now let's talk about features. The Insta360 comes with multiple video modes and 2 photo modes. Now most of these video modes are probably useless to you, but they are pretty useful to have. So now I'm going to go over them one by one. There are so many that I don't want to write them in my script. But the first is the regular video mode, wherein you can shoot up to 8K at 24 FPS or 4K 120 or 1080p 240 FPS. Then secondly, we have a regular photo mode. Now this comes with a 48 megapixel sensor and the detail is really good in it. It does not come with any zooming at 48 megapixel and only can be zoomed in at 12 megapixel, which I guess is fine. But even the low light capabilities are pretty good. You can see that it has done some sort of AI processing with the images because it's slightly softer at the edges and loses some of the details. But if you just look at it from as a photo, it does look really good. Next up, we have HDR photo, which is for bright light photography. We have interval, wherein it takes a shot at regular intervals. We have burst photo, star lapse, slow motion, loop recording, time lapse, and a lot of other features. Now, each feature on its own does come with other sub features which are under this category. So overall, it's packed with features. So whatever you want to do, I'm pretty sure you can do it on this guy. Now, my favorite feature I have 2 favorite features from this. So one is the pure video mode, which is basically for low light. And I think the color grading on it is pretty much perfect. I do keep it at -0.5 white balance, just because I feel sometimes under low light conditions, if I do want the night sky, it does seem a little overexposed. So I think -0.5 to -1 does the trick for me. And the second one is free frame video, wherein I can record both in horizontal and vertical. Now, one downside of free frame video is the fact that it can only shoot it in a minimum of 4K 30 and not 1080p. So I do have to export it every time to 1080p if I want to put it on, say, an Insta story or something like that, because 4K is pretty much useless on Instagram. Now, finally coming to the price point. So when I bought this was sitting at about 40,000 INR because I got it on sale, and its actual MRP was sitting at 45,000 INR. Now the Ace Pro 2 is going to be coming out soon, and this is currently priced around 35,000 to 38,000 INR, which is a very competitive price market because the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro has also come out at around 37,000 INR. Okay, so coming to the improvements. Now there are three basic things that I would like improvements to be in. So first is the front display. So now this front display shows only some basic stats of your video recording settings, such as your battery percentage that's left, how much you can record, the resolution, frame rate, and I think one more being the aspect ratio in which you can record. Now there is a blue light indicator that tells you when it's recording. I've currently switched it off because I find it to be a waste of battery, and even if it does improve my battery by even say 5 minutes, I would take it over using that particular indicator. It does have a red light indicator in the same area when it is charging, but I feel one thing that could have been improved here is when it is charging, it could have probably shown the percentage that it has already been charged, so that in case you just want to take it even though it's not completely charged, you could just see how much is there and see whether you can actually use it or not. Probably they could include that with a software update, but they have not yet. The second thing is the shutter button. The shutter button, now I know it's an action camera and you don't want accidental clicks on this, but the shutter button is just really difficult to click. And this is seen especially during nighttime photography because the force that you have to put while clicking it makes the camera shake slightly, and in low light it struggles to even capture light, so the footage does come out blurry. So usually I do keep a 3-second timer, so that is one thing to keep in mind if you want to do nighttime photography. During daytime, because of the bright light, it does handle it, but sometimes you still do see the shaking, so it's better to put a timer on this while clicking photos. The third and final thing which I felt could be slightly improved on this is the battery life. Now, because I live in India, I don't have access to many of the accessories or spare parts or even servicing to this, which is a sort of trade-off. So you might want to look into that based on where you're buying from. But it does give me about 1.5 to 2 hours maximum battery life based on the scenarios in which I'm recording. It has had instances where it does overheat, like if I'm recording in 4K for a long period of time and I just put it on the dashboard, I just randomly see that it has stopped recording because I think it has overheated or it's run out of battery randomly, so there's no indication as such. So I feel that can be improved a little bit, although thanks to the Type-C port you can just connect a power bank to it and charge and use it on the go. So, but it does mean you have to carry an extra power bank either in your pocket or hold it in your hand or place it on top of this while recording, which is not ideal for recording in all situations. So yeah, that's been it. That's my review for the Insta360 Ace Pro. Now, some of the other cameras that you can buy in this particular price range, I feel are the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro or even the Action 4 Pro, because both of them do provide similar features and in my opinion, better overall quality of video in comparison to a GoPro. Now, a GoPro does have much better servicing and accessories available. So if you want good motor vlogging and stuff like that, probably the accessories are best. But because this is also compatible with GoPro mounts thanks to the magnetic mount over here, I don't feel like you're missing out on much. So this is probably a solid 9 out of 10 for me. Anyways, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'll leave links for both those accounts in the video description. Thanks for watching. This is Tech Savage, and I'll see you guys in the next one.